On today's episode, we're sitting down with Worshipful Brother Paul Chagger and Brother Dennis Rawlings from Maple Lodge.
You're listening to The First Three Knocks, a Masonic podcast in the District of York, where we discuss topics for the betterment of Masonry. The opinions discussed in this podcast are those of the individual and do not represent the views of Grand Lodge or any other Masonic body. Now, here are your hosts.
Good afternoon, brethren.
Hello.
Welcome to the Rising Sun Lodge, or the Aurora Temple in Aurora, Ontario. I'll say Canada now.
Yeah.
Since we've gone public,
global.
I think that
Worldwide.
We're worldwide. We're getting some recognition, which is really exciting. So we have two special guests with us here today. We have Worshipful Brother Paul Chagger and Brother Dennis Rawlings, and these two gentlemen are from Maple Lodge down in Vaughan. So yes, welcome. Sir. Thanks for coming all the way up north to Northern Ontario and joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
We do appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, we're glad you're here. We have sort of two interesting topics to discuss on today's episode, and Worshipful Brother Chagger is going to give us an overview of some of the committee work that he's done with York District, and specifically on the Lodge Resources Committee. And then Brother Dennis Rawlings, you're an artistic individual, one that we've never really met in Masonry before, and you're going to share some of your artistic side with us here today as well.
Again, grateful to just be here. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Brilliant. So with that said, I think it would be maybe easy for our listeners if you could just give us a bit of an overview of how did you guys get to become Masons? What drove you to Masonry?
What drove me to Masonry was a trip out to Vancouver. I had gone to visit family with my kids, and went to my cousin's house, and he says, "Paul, I can't have dinner with you tomorrow night. I have to go to Lodge." I'm like, what the hell is this Lodge stuff? Like, are you from the Flintstones or something? He started laughing, and he goes, "No," and he started sharing what Masonry was. And I go, I've been looking into it for a while, many years, and I've always just been interested. I just don't know who to talk to. And he got me in contact with Grand Lodge of Canada here in Ontario. They sent me to True Blue Lodge.
Oh.
So True Blue Lodge reached out to me, and I went down and saw their temple, met up with the gentleman. And they asked me at one point, they go, "Where do you live?" I said, "I live in Woodbridge." They said, "Why wouldn't you not go to Maple Lodge?" I go, "I don't know."
I'm not aware.
I have no idea. So they said, "We're going to send your application to Maple," and that being very closer to you rather than True Blue. And I said, "Okay, that's perfectly fine." And I didn't hear anything for months. Then one day I get a call from a gentleman, Worshipful Brother, I think his name was Chris Charles at the time. He goes, "We got your application from True Blue, and we'd like to meet up with you to talk about joining the lodge." And I said, "By all means." And then I didn't hear anything for months.
Yeah.
And then in this
classic Masonic response.
Yeah, typical Masonic fashion.
And I was getting a little concerned. I go, "Is this a typical thing?" And I just held my breath, and then they showed up at my house. They called me the day before. "Yeah, we're going to come down and meet with you and your family." I go, "Well, what the hell is this? Like, This is like a something mysterious, or like you're going to like drug my family or something?" It's kind of weird, right?
Yeah,
There's two old guys walk into my house. I'm like,
this is happening.
I go, "Why are these two has-beens in my house?" And they sat down, they started talking to us, and they asked me how it led me to Masonry, and I shared with them. And they said, "Okay, we'll be in contact with you." And then at the end of December, I got an email saying that they would like me to come down on January 12th. I went down, they said, "Just make sure you're in a suit, you have your checkbook with you." And I'm like still trying to figure out, what the hell's going on?
What have I
does this
done?
mean?
I go, what have I done? And I ended up showing up, and while I was there, I ran into some other guy. He's looking at me, I'm looking at him, and I go, "What are you doing here?" He goes, "I got called down." And he goes, "What are you doing here?" I go, "I got called down too." He goes, "Okay." So he goes, "I'm not the only one." And then later on, I got initiated, and we paid the dues, and that's my journey, and that was in 2010.
But if I could interject on something, the one thing I think that the listener, because they can't see, is the beautiful thing about Masonry is that it takes all denominations of people.
Yes.
And Worshipful Brother Satpal Chagger is of Sikh denomination, and he of course it's a little new to him, but his family was very receptive, and he came on that journey, and he's been a great mentor to myself. And he's shown me many things in Masonry, and I've watched him and seen him take his lead, and he was a brilliant worshipful master. He did amazing work. He led the lodge grade, and as a past master, he helped out extremely with the worshipful master that took the chair, who got me into Masonry, which was worshipful brother Peter Vaughn, who's a builder as well outside in his operative work, right? And watching Satpal take control of committees and working diligently and having a great ambition, I've tagged along beside him and watched him and grown with him, and it's been a great experience seeing him and his family. And his family comes to my house, and we go to his house, and we go to movies together and whatnot. And it's been a great brotherhood between us. And just watching him grow and being a part of that journey has been very special. So I wanted to interject that because the viewer may not get a chance to see, and so they get a chance to listen. But Paul is very eloquent in the way he speaks, but it's best that they have an understanding that he came into this and he's been fully accepted, like all the brethren, given no matter what their shortfalls or whatever it is. And brothers are brothers, and we come together, and that's the beautiful thing of Masonry.
Absolutely. It's very true what Brother Rawlings says, is because when I joined, I thought I had to change who I was as an individual, but Masonry accepts you of who you are as an individual. And like Brother Rawlings says, I'm a Sikh by faith, but Masonry is more than about faith. It's about the individual. It's about developing the man to be better, right? So we're taking good men and making better, and that statement holds very true. Because here in Canada, when I became worshipful master, a worshipful master cannot sit in the east with a top hat, and I wear a turban. But Masonry being so versatile, I went into the east with my turban, and no one questioned it, and no one pointed to it as in, you cannot do this, because that just shows that Masonry is all about evolution and moving forward with its people, right? It's like when we learn a new skill set, we apply that skill set, and that makes our job easier. Before it was all handwritten ledgers, then we got into computers, now we just speak into our phones and it just dictates everything. And that's what I got from Masonry. It really made me who I am today, because wherever I look, it's give me an outlook. No matter how I'm feeling, I come to a meeting, I connect with brethren, my whole outlook changes. And nothing outside of Masonry exists for me as in upset. Within Masonry, and when I take Masonry home, I have joy, because the whole idea of building, cultivating, and raising a structure within myself is very there. So I was very honored when they accepted me as a Sikh into this organization. And I know there's not that many of us, culture-wise, but the openness that Masonry has gave me the ability to become a mentor, and that's what my mentor gave to me. We met every Sunday. Every Sunday from 2 to 4. Yeah. From when I became an entered apprentice until I got into the junior steward's chair. Every Sunday, rain or shine. He goes, this is my commitment to you. But he goes, you have to give me your commitment. And that's what set the foundation for me to get into the mentoring program. Right. And that's how Wayne Dobson, I believe I just had become a Master Mason. He recognized me. He goes, I'd like you to become the district librarian, when he was district deputy grand master. And I was like honored. I go, you don't even know me. He goes, it doesn't matter. But he goes, there's something about you. Yeah. So I did that. So that was my first district position when he was district deputy grand master. Right. And because of that, and taking a chance, I fell into the chairs. And I really, really love Masonry. I belong to different bodies in Masonry. It's in my body. And I talk about it all the time. The ideas that one Mason to another cultivates a whole new idea. Like Gino and I spoke about the putting the summons on the app. Brother Rawlings, who's sitting next to me, is promoting the app to everyone he talks to.
And he's done a fantastic job, by the way.
Yes,
the numbers are shooting up.
The numbers, as of late, with all the official visits all basically now wrapped up and complete for our season here, I've been getting requests pretty much on a daily basis again, and again, they normally have waves where they come with those special events, but all of a sudden I'm getting all these waves of requests to join, and I'm like, wow, this is awesome. Again, we know it's catching on, we know it's getting bigger, we know that the district has really accepted it and taken it, and after speaking to Paul with some fantastic ideas that he brought up to us in our last talk, I immediately jumped on board and added the summonses and such. Again, and
great builds.
It's like you guys have just said. It's putting our minds together, and kind of thinking, I guess, together how we can make everything better going forward. You know, we see those missing pieces and how they would work for us, and so we try to put them and enhance them.
When we were upstairs, we were speaking, and we were explaining that you went to Gino. Said you went to Grand Lodge and you were able to get the forums for the
the resources.
Yeah, the resources.
Mentoring program.
And sometimes what we mentioned was we walk away from things and we try to rebuild something, right? Like you said, rebuild the wheel. Right?
We're always looking to reinvent a brand new wheel, but it's like the wheel exists.
The model is already there.
It's a
the model
good
is
model.
there. Yeah,
we can make it better. You can add more traction to it.
Well, I think that the model is perfect. I think because we walk away from it and forget to go back to the model to get the actual knowledge, and we try to recreate, like you said, that we walk away from that. I think the most beautiful thing about Masons is how strong they are.
Yeah.
Right. There's to me when I get tired, I'm like, oh, I got the sciatica. Oh, it hurts, right? You know what I mean? I went to jiu-jitsu, it hurts today. You know, I don't want to go. And then I think of one of my brethren who's like 95 or 85 years old, and he's been coming for 70 years, and I'm like,
sitting in the chair for hours.
Just go, like, you know. And every day they're here, they're trying to make the world a better place, and the world outside has its issues going on, but in Masonry, because it's the beautiful model, it's perfect. Seeing that and seeing how they stick to it to try to get that to have an influence in the world, that's a beautiful thing. That's
true. The beauty in Masonry, it keeps the outside world outside, and the community that we've created is beautiful.
But I often say that the entire world should be Masons, because again, when we close those lodge doors, you know, we don't talk about things that are disruptive from the outside world inside lodge, and it just makes it harmonious. And like you just said a few moments ago, Paul, I think it was last month, I was traveling up with you to a lodge, and we also went up with Bruce Bellows on another meeting night, and I was just having a rough patch. You know, work was really beating me up a little bit, and these things happen. And like you just said, Dennis, I wasn't sure that I wanted to go to lodge, and I was feeling a little bit down and out. But I already committed to the guys. We're gonna go. And the second I got in the car with my brothers, you know, we headed on that road, and then we had that meeting. Like immediately, my whole spirit just changed. My energy changed, and then I went home more happy. And so I carried that into the next day and the next 100%. Day. And well, the sun's now out. Summer is here, and I'm starting to feel a lot better. So it's exactly what
you're
it's all about.
You're relating to the person that understands you. Right, like you understand we've all gone through the same initiation. We've been initiated, passed, and raised to the sublime degree of Master Mason. Like we've all learned the same things, right? And that's what's the uniqueness about it. It's like being married. You're married and you take those vows, and that's how seriously I'm taking my vows in Masonry. It's like, this is my brotherhood. I'm not going to bring my problems to my brotherhood, but being with you guys is a different, it's a different world, right? It's
absolutely.
Like we had a guest on Tuesday, and he was noticing the steps where everyone sits. Worship Masters 3 steps, or Senior Wardens 2, and so on. And I said, no matter what, when an entered apprentice is honored by the Worship Master, he comes down to the level. I go, no matter what our rank and title is in Lodge, we're always on the level. Yeah. And we always see each other. We greet each other. I go, some lodges are known as the Hugging Lodge. Yeah. And I go, anyone I meet.
Zerodatha.
Yeah. Zerodatha.
Yeah, that was awesome, that's your lodge, isn't it, you guys?
Yeah.
That worshipful Brother Wilson loves to hug people. Anyway.
Well, so do I. Yeah. Every time I see guys, every time I see my brethren, it's a hug.
Yep.
Right? Because it's the 5 points of fellowship.
Yep.
Right?
So you joined in 2010, is that
yes,
correct?
I joined in 2010, and I slowly progressed through the chairs, and I actually jumped senior steward and senior deacon because of some of the shuffling that happened, and But I said, as the wardens, that was one of my requirements. I asked them, I go, I don't want to miss these 2 chairs, because you learn a lot as a warden, being one of the principal officers. And it really gave me a lot more foundation to be a successful worshipful master. Even though my mentor had said to me, he goes, your journey to the east starts as soon as you say yes to the junior steward's chair. And it did. But when I got into the junior warden's chair, I know that there's no turning back for the betterment of my lodge and for me. And that's what I did. And when
I poured it on,
and I took time. And at the time, John Paulo was master when I was junior warden. And I said, give me some of the committee work, and I took it on. And then when I became senior warden, I took on more committee work. When Alfred became master, I said, don't worry, all the committee work's my responsibility. And then when I came into the master's chair, I changed it up because I understood the responsibility of the committee work, and I was able to more diligently help my brethren be more successful in their committee work, because I understood it, right? Because I'm the type of person who does it and sort of guides people. I don't like just telling people what to do if I haven't experienced it myself.
Right.
And that's the good thing about Masonry. They give you, it gives you a lot of tools to learn and develop.
Yeah.
Right. As rambunctious I am, Masonry has calmed me down quite a bit.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah. Because Masonry, for me, is I'm very humble being a Mason. I'm very proud of it, and I talk to everyone about it. Especially with these, with the podcasts. I've been talking to my friends in England, in Quebec, and they're getting on board with listening to it, and we're getting a lot of kudos. York District is getting recognized, so I'd like to thank you guys here on the social media committee for putting this together. And it's just not a win for York District; it's a win for all Masonry.
Yeah.
And the community.
It's a great platform.
And the community in
the
general
community
at large.
Yeah.
Because people will see that we're here genuinely, and that's how we're getting people to come out.
I think that was the whole idea when we kind of sat down in one of those first brainstorming meetings. We don't want it scripted. We don't want, all these peppering of questions and answers and make it sound like it's been kind of pre-thought. Exactly. We just wanted to be very candid conversations to kind of show, in the beginning, York District and our brethren at large that, hey, we're just normal guys that are trying to improve and better ourselves and how we are experiencing it, as well as bringing it on our guests. And then, it's just morphed into this amazing journey, and we're still very new and fresh and learning ourselves. But like you said, thanks to brethren like you, it's getting global recognition. Once we got the okay from our own Grand Lodge to go on the carriers that would really allow the quality to really shine, then it's just now it's just I guess we'll treat it as a marathon, and we're going to run it nice and slow, and we'll get there. But now it's really just getting out there and getting that conversations flowing and calling upon brethren like yourselves to kind of give us what you guys do. So getting back to that, we get a little bit of where you've come from and whatnot, but you're our district lodge resource person.
Chairman. Yeah.
What is that exactly? I mean, again, we all have certain things that we help with and do, but I'm really curious as to what exactly that means and what you do, and how can you help the rest of the 19 lodges in district as well as outside.
So when I was approached by Right Worshipful Scott Rickman, and at first I didn't know what it was, but I like challenges, because I always try to scratch my head as a worshipful master as well. I go, what is this? And someone gave me some makeshift idea what it was, and I'm like, okay, it's not significant at the lodge level. But when I said I'll take it on, and it was a good thing when this was brought to me, and when I sat down and I printed up the manual, 600 pages of it, I really got an understanding that it's a program that's designed by Grand Lodge that basically sets the foundation, or the basic wheel of what lodges should be doing to get more growth, to get people out in your own lodges, like older members that can't come out, right? Like how to mentor your programs, how to follow protocol and that. There's like about 20 programs in here that you can follow and be very successful at a lodge. The Cornerstone project actually came from the lodge resources. Oh, no way. So it evolved. But Cornerstone goes after specific metrics to be more in depth on being more achievable, right? Because Lodge Resources tends to be a little bit more wordy of a thing. So what Lodge Resources does gives you the foundation on how to run particular programs. So the most common one people do is the friend-to-friend program.
Okay.
Because I know Lodge Fellowship was doing it, Richmond was doing it, and they were calling me up and asking me about it. And they said, "What are we supposed to do?" I said, "You're supposed to have a committee, have a person chair the committee, have 5 or 6 guys do it, get some names brought up, give them to your secretary with the emails and numbers of friends that you're looking at bringing in." And I go, don't solicit that we're going to ask them to join. It's just an information session.
Right.
And that's what Friend to Friend is just informing people who are interested in Masonry what Masonry really is. And if you go through the book, there's letters already pre-done for you. All you do is you drop their name in, you put it in an envelope, and you send it. There's even envelopes printouts you can use.
So again, the wheels are there. You're tweaking it to customize it to your own use.
Yes.
And out the door it goes.
It even talks about how to present, how the apron is. What does it mean by tools? What does it mean by lodge? What does it mean by worshipful master's title? And there's about like 5 or 6 pieces that the committee chairman can delegate. The committee chair does not need to be a worshipful master. And I recommend that you get maybe a past master or a deacon or a warden involved in this, because it really gives them that ability to become more successful as a master, right? Because as a warden, you need to learn what the master does, right? And this is a good thing to also have like EAs, entered apprentice and fellowcraft on this, because it shows them how to have those conversations with friends. Yeah. How to we had a brother, Vanya, his dad joined. He put an application in with us. It was amazing. Vanya got his 3rd degree in March, and he was itching. And we met with his dad a couple of weeks ago. Dennis was there. He signed the application. He goes, "Now I can do it. I'm a Master Mason."
Oh,
but
that's awesome.
When the brother became, any brother that becomes a member of Maple, I sort of put him on a committee.
Oh, okay, it's like an immediate thing.
It's more of an immediate thing, so they can be involved. Because what happens most times, people will be like, "Oh, I don't know what to do. Why should I come out?" There's an engagement that's happening, right? So even if it means that they're sitting with the secretary filling out the database, right? Or even if it just means that they're licking envelopes and sealing them. But get everyone involved. And this program, because there's no ritual in it, it's just protocol and structure. Anyone and everyone can do it in your lodge.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Right. So again, what more can I say? It's the wheel already designed, and we just have to run with it. And there's enough information in here that a lodge can be very, very, very successful. Right. The big thing that I'm noticing that I try to promote the latter part of this year was the brother to brother, because we have a lot of wise older members that can't come out because they're sick, or some brethren that, you know what, I'm not working, or I just can't make it out. Well, we were promoting our lodge, like, let's just go pick them up.
Right.
Let's bring them down.
Yeah.
Right.
Push the agenda.
Push the agenda, or we have a brother who hadn't been out for 5 years. Okay, you know what? We're going to hold a brother Rusty Mason night.
Oh, nice.
We're going to go through how to step and sign. Believe it or not, if you're away from Masonry for a while, you tend to forget what foot is what when you step and sign.
Yep.
So it's a very useful program, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, you got a lot out of it.
I got a lot out of it, and I'm a big promoter of it because I can see the usefulness of it. If I were given another year, we can make this more of a stronger foundation for York District. Even the podcast could be a big leverage for this as well, right? Showcasing what lodges are doing what events.
Yep.
And that was my goal, was to get the 19 lodges to do one of these programs, right? And doing some of these programs, you'll hit your cornerstone metrics as well.
Brilliant stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Brilliant stuff. So in the year's sort of wrapping up now for York District, coming into July. Looking back on the past year in this specific chair, What do you think are some of the key highlights of the things you've been to? A lot of lodges, you've seen a lot of activity, you've been involved in pushing lodges to embark. What's the big insight?
Big insight is, please have your committee structured with the right people, and make sure they know they're on that committee.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be very key. And the other thing I promoted is if you're going to have a lodge resource committee chairman in your lodge, connect them with the district lodge resource committee chairman. If you have an education chair, connect them with the district education committee chair, because that'll make it effective, right? So
it goes back to not reinventing that wheel.
Yeah.
Again, you have
Yeah.
fellas that are at the Grand Lodge representative side,
Yep.
who can provide you the tools you need to make your lodge even more successful.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, why would I build a team if I know there's a team, 19 members out there that exist for me,
Right.
that I can tap into, that
Absolutely.
can be my feelers. And I have a lodge resource I can tap into, which is the Grand Lodge.
Exactly.
And it was very successful. So that was my biggest takeaway, is make sure you have the right person in the committee and they know what they're doing. And being on this committee or not, I'm a big promoter of this, and I think I'm going to be promoting this for a very, very long time. And I'm always around. I do have the manual, as you see, and
it is 600 pages.
It definitely is 600 pages. Yeah, maybe 700.
Yeah, the lady was surprised. She goes, for an organization, you got a lot of paperwork, but it's really good, guys. I really can't tell you how much I enjoyed this. It really cultured me as well.
Yeah.
And I really got to meet and understand how people work even more in depth. And the biggest thing I can say also I took away is the reception I got about this. Because I was fairly new to this, but when I got out there as much as I could to talk about it, people were very receptive, took my number, were calling me, okay, Paul, how do we do this? Can you come down and talk about this? So with that in mind, I was talking to Gino upstairs earlier. I'm going to be holding seminars over the summer on wardens, taking it out from the lodge resources, mentoring. We're going to be working with wardens on learning the wardens lectures, the deacons doing the perambulation.
Excellent.
Have a day for masters and wardens to come out, how to open and close. Because those are some of the things we need to know when we're getting installed, is how to open and close.
Fine details.
The fine details.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's my way. And
They
it's my
do.
way to give back to what Masonry gave to me.
Awesome.
That's excellent. That's excellent. Well, we very much appreciate all the hard work you did this past year, and it's evident. It shows up in the district and the lodges as well.
Absolutely.
So we thank you for that.
Thank you.
That yeoman's effort from the past year. I think at this moment we're going to take a few minutes to clear the secretary's desk.
All right, so clearing the secretary's desk next week, June 18th. It's Tuesday. It's Meet Grand Lodge Candidates. There was a little bit of a conflict on the last meet and greet, that it fell on a few district spring meetings, so we've put together another one. It's going to be at 6:30, which is a social hour. 7:30 is the start time to actually meet the candidates from Grand Lodge, and they're going to be all Grand Lodge candidates that have put their name forward, or at least those who can make it. And it's going to be located at Richmond Hill Masonic Temple, open to all Masons. And again, that's next Tuesday, June 18th.
Then on Wednesday, June 19th, this is an exciting one. King Solomon's 108th annual golf tournament and district charity. Is that right? 108 years?
It is. I've been going for the last 4 years, and that's their claim 4
missed
years
the
ago.
first 104, huh?
Yeah, apparently I was behind the 8 ball on that one, but it is 108th. They have records going far back, and they talk about it every time, and it's an awesome event as well.
It's a shotgun scramble. It's starting at 10 o'clock, and that will be is being held in Guildford at the Guildford Golf Club. And if you would like to participate, it's $160 per golfer, and that includes golf cart and dinner. So if you'd like more information, of course, it's available on the app under events.
All right. And then we have Zaradatha putting on a little bit of a fun social event. It's actually a Scotch nosing and dinner, and it is at the Hobby Horse Arms in Uxbridge. It is an $80 cost. You can go through, actually you can RSVP directly by calling Hobby Horse Arms directly at 905-852-6126, or you can email them, and I'm sure you could find their email on their website. It's going to be...
Primary rib dinner.
And that one comes with a prime rib dinner. So again, you get Scotch nosings, prime rib dinner, social time with your brethren, but it's not just the Masons. You can bring your family, your friends, anybody who might be interested in different Scotches or in Masonry itself.
And then on Monday, June 24th, we're back to installations. So we went through our season of official visits and we started back into installations. So Richmond Lodge is having their installation on Monday, June 24th, and that's at 7:30. That'll be at 112 Crosby Street.
And I believe they have an early banquet on that one. And then we have our last installation of this particular Masonic season, and that would be Union Lodge, also on Monday, June the 24th. So if you can, split yourself or clone yourself or figure it out. They're going to have, I think, banquet late. So maybe you can go for banquet for one and then head over to the other for the second one. But again, Union Lodge installation, June 24th.
And then, of course, going into July, it is the Grand Lodge Communication, annual communication down at the Royal York Hotel, July 15th to 17th. And we've talked a lot about this event, but a great opportunity for all the brethren, certainly of York District and others, to participate in. So we hope to see you there.
And then I guess the last one before we clear this secretary's desk would be Tuscan Lodge. They have an annual summer barbecue. All are invited. The Franklin Club, located out in Mount Albert. It's $25 per person. If you're 12, you enter for free. There'll be some beverages and such that you can buy and whatnot. And you can contact Junior Warden of Tuscan Lodge. That would be Phil Dawson. And I suggest with summer finally here and the weather has finally improved, I imagine July 20th will be a nice, fun Saturday event to go and partake in. And the time there will be between 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. And that about clears our secretary's desk.
So that pretty much closes up our episode for today. And want to say a special thank you to Worshipful Brother Paul Chagger for sharing your insights on the Lodge Resource Committee. Any final thoughts you'd like to share with the brethren and our listeners in general?
Final thoughts, reach out to your members and talk to your committee members, and they're there to help and support you. Masonry's here for 300 years. It's going to be here for another 3,000 more years.
That it will be. So with that, brethren, we will stop there, and we'll be coming back for part 2 of this episode, sitting down with Brother Dennis Rawlings to talk about some Masonic creativity and artistic elements of Masonry.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of The First Three Knocks. Happy to meet, sorry to part, happy to meet again.